You want me to shut up?
All right, we're in Louisville, Kentucky at a Zija opportunity meeting. The room is full of folks: Luke Curry, Jeremy Taylor, John Morris, Chris Estes was just here, and I want to see the people behind me. This many people can't be wrong about living life the right way. Good, positive people, helping people, believing in people. So we're getting ready for an opportunity meeting. If you're interested in changing your life, health and wealth-wise, I suggest taking a look deep inside yourself and seeing if you really mean it. And if you do, pay attention to what we're about to watch here. I'm going to keep this Periscope broadcast running. This is some good stuff. We love you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, once again, our schedule today, we're going to have a presentation. Overview here from 9:30 to about 10:15. Take about 10:15. At 10:30, we've got 3 trainers, 20 to 25 minutes. It's really going to help your business about prospecting, the compensation plan, other aspects of Zija that really helps you grow. We've got myself, Will Weaver, and Dee Hutchins that's going to do that. We'll be done at the latest be noon. I encourage you to stay for all of it because, as I mentioned, I think we're going to add value to a lot of people today. Also, the Life Unlimited Academy, as Chris mentioned, he said the one January 30th is in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. And the one we've got here in Louisville, if you want to put on your calendars, is going to be a Shelby campus that worked out real well last year. It's going to be May the 21st. So, that's the weekend before Memorial Day. And on that Friday night, the 20th, we're going to have like an opportunity meeting at 7, and that LUA will be all day that Saturday. Also, this next Thursday at the bank over Central Bank, Will Weaver will be doing a presentation. Sharon Hatfield does a great job of lining up different leaders there each week on Thursday nights here in Louisville at 7 o'clock over at Central Bank. So if you can line some people up and get them there, add value to you and your business. Real quick, as you guys get started here with an overview, hopefully we have some guests here. And at the end of the meeting, make sure to get back to the person who invited you. But as Chris mentioned, I still do this part-time. My name is John Morris. I live out here in Simpsonville. I've been in education a total of 20 years. I had a little network marketing experience before Zija back in the 90s with Excel Communications. It taught me a lot about myself, taught me about industry, talked to me about people, and also about getting involved with the right company. I was introduced to a lot of different companies the 8 or 9 years I wasn't involved in network marketing by a lot of different people. I chose Zija, and I chose going with Dee Hutchins for many reasons. First of all, I never came across anybody that introduced it to me who was making any money. And I always said that if I'm going to get involved in something, I believe in going big or go home. I want to do it right and do it big, or I'm not going to do it. And so when Dee introduced me to it back in 2009, of course it was a little can, had no idea about anything. I heard Chris Estes, heard he was making a little money, asked Dee if he was making any, he wasn't. So I said, Dee, if this is that good, it will be around. The company at the time was only about 3 years old. I said, Dee, do you understand that most network marketing companies go under within the first 5 years anyway? If Zija is still around, then we'll talk if you're making money. So Dee really didn't, I guess, quote unquote, bug me or wasn't persistent with me. He just, from time to time, would let me know, hey, you need to look at it because of what it does for you and your family. And I know you have some experience in the industry and you could probably do this. I kind of followed Dee and also a lot of people who were getting success on the products. Long story short was, as people were more successful, I said, you know what, if they can do it, I can do it. It was almost the fear of not doing it is what drove me, because I said, what if Dee 3 or 4 or 5 years from now is making the money he's making? I would have kicked myself, first of all, for not trying it, and for secondly, not trying it in a big way. And so once I looked at all the information, I did my pros and cons list, had a lot of pros, a few cons. I asked myself what I ask a lot of times is, why not? You only live once. why not take chances when you have an opportunity there? And I said, these people are doing it, they're getting or having success with it. But kind of for me, the telling point was, if I wasn't in the business, I really needed to be on the product. You know, I'm assistant principal here at Eastern, very, very busy. It's a stressful job. We have 3 kids. Obviously, that's stressful in itself. And as most of you know, when you live a busy life, a lot of times life kind of gets in the way of you looking at other things because you have other priorities. I was coaching baseball over here. That was kind of my passion and my focus, and it's one of those things that we did very, very well, but they never at the end of the year sent me a bonus check because of how many games we'd win or how we ended up doing. And so I think I impacted a lot of lives. It's just I may have not impacted my family's life from being involved in that. So I was very busy. Dee basically said that, hey, I'll help you do this. I met with him and Chris Estes one night at Applebee's, and I said, hey, I'll get started. So what I've done over the last 5 years, and I still do this on a part-time basis, one of the things I really emphasize to each and every one of you is be intentional with your time each and every day. You have 24 hours in a day. It's how you spend them. So be intentional with your time. I've done something every single day. My goal is make my Zija business a better business today than it was yesterday. Do something today that's going to help grow my business. And so I've done that over time, and with the help of Dee Hutchins and with being able to talk to a few great people that we have here, obviously we've got a established business. So what we're going to do is show you the information that I saw about 5 years ago when I was introduced to it. In my opinion, it's a lot better now because we offer a lot of different products. Before I introduce Dee, I'd like to bring up a teammate. His name is Mike Yates. He's one of the most powerful testimonies, product-wise and business-wise, in this entire company. So Mike, if you'll come on up. Mike is from Douglasville, Georgia. He's also involved in teaching and coaching, and he'll share a little bit about his testimony.
Morning, everybody. As John said, I'm Mike Yates. I'm from Douglasville, Georgia. My Zija journey began in the summer of 2012. A lot of you heard my story. It means a lot to me. I woke up one morning and went out and saw that my car was being repossessed. And gets me every time I tell this. The whole time it's happening, I'm like, don't let my kids come out here. I got 16-year-old and 12-year-old twins, and how do you explain that to your kids? And your dad, sorry, I can't pay the bills. I'm supposed to be the example. I'm Superman, but I wasn't being Superman. So I got on the phone with Will Weaver and I said, Will, sign me up. Let's do it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know what this is, but let's do it. So, over the next 12 to 16 months, I lost 68 pounds. I was like, man, there's some good stuff. As I tell my good friend Danny Thompson, I was taller laying down than standing up when I started. So lost 68 pounds, and I've earned a nice residual income. Matter of fact, I used my residual income to pay most of my bills, and I bought my wife the same type of vehicle that got repossessed. And picture I look at every day is my 3 sons and me standing up like this in front of our vehicle, and just as a sign that I did it and I'm doing it. So if you're thinking about getting started, you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to start to be great. So I encourage you to get started.
As most of you get involved in this business, of course, I got involved because I wanted to make extra money. And for me, the product was kind of the side thing. I knew I needed to be on it. Once I got involved, I really then understood a little bit more about health and nutrition. I was a GNC guy, had 14 different types of products. At the end of the day, was I getting anything from it? Well, I don't know. Did I feel different? Not really. I just knew I was taking something I thought could help me. And so when I was introduced to Zija, I tell people all the time, this business may not be for you, but the product is. So what I like to do is I like to lead with the products because everybody should be on the product. We're advertising for this company. You have to understand that there's not a dime spent from Zija that goes out for domes or for professional athletes or for other things. They put it back into you in the compensation plan. And so when you have something good, you share it. Now, as Chris said, Dee is one of the best men that also I've met too. And in this company, we're here to make money. We're also here to share health and nutrition. But as Dee will emphasize too, you're here to grow yourself and to get better. I used to tell people, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. And so what you have to do each and every day is you have to have goals, individual goals, and what you need to do in order to get better. And so Dee helps me as kind of an accountability partner. He asks great questions, and he lives his life by example. And so I've learned a lot just from being around him and his leadership and his mentorship. And I call him our product guy. If you have a question about product or anything about that, Dee can definitely help you. But Dee does an incredible job with the products and the presentation. One of the top leaders in entire Zija. Makes a tremendous amount of money, but he adds value to the people in his group and in his team. And so what Dee's going to do is tell you a little bit about his story, and also he's going to present the opportunity day. Thank you, Dee. Appreciate it.
People come into things like this for different reasons. And in 2008, one of my former students who was a chiropractor in Atlanta, Georgia, mentioned this to me. He just said, hey, I've got something I've been using for a few months. If you'll review it, you want your family to use it. Let me be very upfront. If he had tried to get me into a business, I wouldn't have done it out of spite. Okay? He didn't talk to me about getting into some business. He said, I've got something I've been using nutritionally, and if you'll review it, you'll want your family to use it. I didn't really believe him fully, but out of respect for him, I did go back and look at some information. As Chris pointed out, I had enough trust in him to at least look, which started me on a process of learning that was very eye-opening for me. And this is one of the reasons I'm very passionate about spending some time with you today, and one of the things that I really enjoy talking to people about, and that is how to take care of yourself. Because I thought at the age of 43 that I was doing a good job of taking care of myself physically. And I found out that I was very, very misguided in several areas. And I want to know more. So once I started asking some questions, I shared this with a friend who had a doctorate in pharmacy from the University of Kentucky, and he called me back and we started talking about it, and we talked a little bit about Zija Nutrition, which is in my hand here, but we also talked about nutrition in general. There were some things that either I never had learned before in school or that I needed to be reminded of as an adult. And so once I gained this information, I certainly wanted my family to use the nutrition, okay? What's in my hand has great value for people nutrition. And so I became a customer. And again, I had, unlike John, I didn't really know anything about network marketing. To me, it was, this wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't really know why. This was like, that's something other people do. But I saw value with the nutrition. So my family, we were customers for like 6 months. And what's funny is I introduced it to Chris because I wanted Chris to vet it for me. I shared it with my pharmacy friend, also Chris, because he was a big-time triathlete. He didn't tell you, he was probably one of the top 5 in the state at the time. And so Chris, he came back to me, he's like, Dee, I want to know more about this stuff. And I said, well, my chiropractor's buddy's bringing this product up next week. You can ask him all the questions you want. So in my living room in July of 2008, Chris Estes decided I'm going to use this, but I'm also going to share it with people. He said, Dee, you're interested in that? I said, there's no way I'm doing it. That's it. I was almost like, hey man, you do whatever you feel like doing. He started all by himself sharing this with people. But 6 months later, I was open to the opportunity of sharing because I saw the value that it had for people. And I didn't feel like I'm not a salesperson, okay? And I don't want to be in the quote-unquote the convincing business, okay? So the things I'm going to talk to you about, I like dealing in absolutes, so I'm just going to kind of tell you how it is about taking care of yourself. Either you're going to do it or you're not, okay? The story. A documentary came out on the Discovery Channel several years ago called The Miracle Tree, about Moringa oleifera. The tree's been around for thousands of years. This gentleman saw the documentary and developed an idea. The idea was maybe we could deliver this tree to the world as a food. See, drug companies had tried for years. In fact, it's the most studied plant in Western pharmacopoeia. Drug companies had tried for years to extract things from the tree to deliver drugs to us, but they could not do that successfully. The tree was too complex. And so no one was marketing it to the world in any way, even though it was the most nutrient-rich plant on earth. Now, one of the reasons people had trouble thinking about a way to market it was because the leaves and the seeds of the tree are very pungent. They stink. Okay? So this gentleman developed an idea, maybe we could deliver this as a food, and so he took millions, that's with an S, millions of his own dollars, and hired a food formulator, a group of scientists from California, to work on developing this as food. That's very important. This is not some juice, okay, or some, synthetic vitamin, nutraceutical. This is real food in my hand here. And it's very important. That's a big distinction. So what's really cool about his story is that he was already a multi-millionaire. He was retired. He was a philanthropist. He was a missionary for his church. So why did he do this? To help people. He said he felt spiritually moved to get this out. Now, to me, that's kind of a cool aspect of the story. He didn't do it to line his pockets. He didn't do it to, and I can go into some detail without not going to, but there's been decisions made by this company, improvements in the delivery of this food, and the price doesn't change. Okay? They're about adding value to people. And certainly it's a business. They have to make money and have their employees, and things have to function. But the mindset starts with this gentleman. And the mindset is, in fact, for the first 2 or 3 years of the company, they didn't make anything. He bankrolled it. Because he believed in it, that it was helping people. A lot of companies will go out and they'll find some PhD or somebody that wears a lab coat and throws a stethoscope around their neck and says, hey, it's good stuff. Use this. Zija didn't do that. The original formulator and those scientists have their own company. They're not part of Zija. Okay? This gentleman basically recruited us. Now, sitting in the back, you might be able to read, but he graduated from Harvard Medical School. First in his class, he has a PhD in biomedical sciences. He did this in half the time that it normally takes students to complete that program at Harvard. That's with a wife and 2 children. At Harvard, he worked with things related to metabolism, cellular growth. He knew about moringa. But here's what's cool about his story, why he wanted to work with Zija. He said that I could have gone to any pharmaceutical company on the planet. He could have worked. Everybody that was anybody in that arena wanted him to come work for them. He was the Michael Jordan, really, of biomedical sciences. I mean, he is. He's an incredible person, and he's wanted. He was recruited heavily. But here's what he said. He said, why should I go spend my life developing drugs for things that are easily preventable? Why should I do that? Why not go work with somebody who's doing things on the front end to help people learn how to better take care of themselves? If I can develop products that can help people be healthier and not have to go live at the pharmacy or live on the surgery table, that's what I want to do. So he didn't come to us for money, he came to us for purpose. That's a cool story. We probably recognize this maybe from grade school. I don't remember seeing a picture quite like this about the things we're supposed to eat, but we were taught fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, leafy green plants, raw nuts, and grains. We were taught some basics of how to take care of ourselves. I think from my memory, most of that was in grade school. It's a sad thing that the things we're going to talk about here in a moment aren't taught consistently, and there's really nobody for us as adults that's really putting this message out to people. Because a lot of us would like to know how to take care of ourselves or be maybe re-reminded, slapped back into coherence, but nobody's really pounding the message. Guess why? Because there's no real money in it. Think about it. I mean, there's no real money. People say you want to follow what's happening, go back and see where the money is. There's better money in keeping us all, sort of halfway there, halfway not, visiting the pharmacy, and just we're sort of there, and there's money in that. Keeping people healthy, not near as much. So this is a lot more in line with what people are eating today. I eat some of the things shown here. Not as much as I used to, but I still eat some of this. I'm not saying that all this stuff is terrible, but in this particular picture here, almost everything up here is what you refer to as fake food. It contains almost no vitamins or minerals. It's not enzymatically alive. And in fact, some of the things up here contain things that are actually harmful to you. drinking a few artificial sweeteners or flavorants or colorants or things that go into foods to give them shelf life, all these kind of processed foods we have available. Eating a little bit of that here and there is not a big deal. But to some people, that's all they eat. So collectively, over and over and over again, it's a real problem. And for some people, this looks like a pretty good diet. Some people eat worse than this. So here's the problem from a nutritional standpoint. Not only are we not giving our bodies what we need, we're also ingesting a lot of things we don't need, which are causing a multitude of problems. As far as if you're taking notes, I would write this down, or these things I'm going to say. There's really 4 things you must do to get the most out of the body that God gave you. 4 things you must do to get the most out of the body that God gave you. We'll start with hydration. No particular order. Hydration. There's lots of resources you can use. I'm going to use the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic recommends 9 to 13 cups of water a day. Let's go to the low end of that. 9. 8 ounces in a cup. 9 times 8 is 72. 72 ounces of water. I have to really think about for myself how much water I'm drinking and remind myself that's a lot of water. 72 ounces or 80 ounces, that's a lot of water every day. I've got to make a concerted effort to hydrate my body correctly. I have a friend that I had a discussion with. He's been on Jeopardy before. He's a brilliant person. We were talking one time about hydration, and he said, I'm doing fine. I'm drinking a lot of sweet tea and Diet Mountain Dew. I'm like, hey, bro, just because it's wet doesn't mean it's hydrating you. In fact, some of those things you just mentioned have diuretics in them, which means they extract water from your system. Okay? We need water, folks, to function. Now, you might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, here's the big deal. Issues with not giving yourself enough water. Headaches, fatigue, muscle soreness. How many people do you think right now have been taught that the headaches, there's about 150 million Americans that complain of chronic headaches. How many people do you think would ever think that it's related to the amount or the lack of water that they're giving themselves? Most people would rather just drink a little bit of water and take some capsules with them. This will solve my problem here. How about drinking enough water and not have the problem? Let me ask you this. You come home from work and you're somebody that you don't hydrate properly. And you come home from work and you got a little bit of a headache and a little bit of fatigue, maybe a little bit of muscle soreness, maybe one of the 3, whatever. Do you feel like going and exercising? Probably not. Kids are wearing you out, things have been a long day, and you just don't quite feel like exercising. So that's the second. That's next. Hydration, exercise. What's the minimum that you need to do for optimum exercise or optimum health? Here's the minimum. You need to walk about 4 to 5 miles a day. 10,000 steps. Okay? That's what you need to shoot for. I'm talking about for optimum health. A lot of walking. I'm just telling you how it is. Look it up if you don't believe me. A lot of walking. Here's what else is recommended. 3 times a week for 20 to 25 minutes, do some vigorous cardio. Jogging, running, dancing, swimming, biking. There's tons of other things you can choose, but vigorous. Why would you do that? Well, it strengthens your heart. Strengthens your heart. Another thing that's recommended is 30 minutes a week of resistance training. Lifting weights, push-ups, sit-ups, certain types of yoga. There's a lot of other things you can do. Resistance training. What does that do? Well, it builds bone density. Makes your muscles less prone to injury. Also lowers your blood pressure. So hydration, exercise. Next is sleep. Sleep. The variations on the recommendations of this aren't all much. I've never seen a recommendation for an adult less than 7 hours. Everybody in this room needs 7 hours of sleep as your minimum. The closer that you get to 6 hours, you're right at, the closer you get, you're now 3 times more likely to catch a cold. Your immune system's compromised. If you repeatedly wake up during the night or you get poor sleep, you're 5 times more likely to catch a cold. But it's a lot worse than that. Okay, and we could talk about sleep all day. Let me share a few other things that you are going to deal with chronic lack of sleep. You're not giving yourself enough sleep. You're at risk for heart disease, heart attack, heart failure, stroke, and diabetes, along with high blood pressure. If that doesn't get your attention, somebody get some peppermint oil or something and bring it back to you and let you sniff it for a minute. That's just the start. Guess what else? It ages your skin. You know, ages your skin, kills your sex drive, can lead to anxiety and depression. Don't raise your hand, but how many people in this room, or do you know people who are taking medications right now related to anxiety or depression? How many of those people do you think had someone counsel them, or they would equate that to not giving their body enough sleep? There's no money in that, is there? I tell you to sleep correctly, I don't make anything. Dr. Oz was interviewed a couple of years ago, and they asked him, Dr. Oz, if you could give human beings one piece of advice for their overall health, what would it be? He said, sleep correctly. Then they said, if you could give human beings one more piece of advice, what would it be? He said, water. Wow. Tough stuff. But just people aren't doing it, folks. Some of you in this room aren't doing it. And lastly is nutrition. Nutrition. Eating a proper diet of food that provides your body what it needs to function. Now here's the deal. Water is almost free in this country. Sleep is free. And exercise is free. Nutrition's not. Nutrition's not. It requires a serious investment of money and effort to get it. Most of you in this room have no idea what real food costs because you've never bought it before. That's why what's in my hand has such incredible value for people, because it's way, way more economical and it's much more convenient. If I was to share the things you should go buy, maybe we talk about how to prepare them, all that kind of stuff. There's people that are good at doing that. We talked about that. A lot of you wouldn't do it anyway. Sure. I went to the grocery in Hodgenville, Kentucky about 3 years ago, and I gathered up what I thought would be a basic good diet for myself in the grocery. Nothing organic. And it was $8 for myself. $8. And I had several little things there, and what would have been the next neat trick, I didn't buy it, but the next neat trick would have been like, what would I do when I got it home? How am I going to prepare it, without stripping things from it? In other words, I'm trying to get nutrition from this stuff. It would have been an ordeal. I can't imagine going to Whole Foods or Rainbow Blossom here in Louisville and doing the same thing. It'd been over $10 easy, buying some organic. It's expensive to eat right. That's just the way it is. But most of us aren't doing it, so it doesn't even cross our minds how costly it is to take care of ourselves. And I feel bad for poorer people in this country because the worst stuff for us is the most affordable. It's ridiculous. Now here's my mindset at 43 years old. My friend says, take a look at this, it has value for you. My mindset was, my wife's a good cook, which she is, and I was taking a multivitamin to fill in the gap. My pharmacist friend punched me in the face pretty quickly, and he said, hey, just because your wife's a good cook doesn't mean she's cooking good things, and that vitamin, you might absorb 1% of it if you let it. I was like, interesting, didn't know that. Want to know more. Which led to things related to sleep and exercise and hydration. So here's the deal, folks. Those are the things you got to do. That's why Dr. Plant is part of this company. The big theme here is, let's do things on the front end to take care of ourselves So we're not visiting the pharmacy and laying on the surgery table before our time. You're getting the most out of your body, being able to lead a quality life. Feel good. I'm 50. I want to feel good when I'm 60 and 70. If I want to do that, I've got to do the daily disciplines. No getting around it. Now, nutrition. What did Mr. Brailsford see that this tree delivered? It was so powerful. Here's what the tree is delivering. 46 antioxidants, 36 anti-inflammatories. The anti-inflammatory properties are probably what impact the way people physically feel. People ask me all the time, they'll go, I'll be presenting sometimes, and people go, what's it done for you? I was on the phone last night with somebody from Houston, and she's like, well, I drank some stuff somebody gave me a while back, and I didn't really notice anything. You know? I'm like, well, this is not really something you're going to necessarily use, and you're going to be jumping over buildings, or all your hair is going to grow back, or I don't know what you're expecting. This is nutrition. It's kind of boring. Hey, this is kind of, this stuff, look, some of you are looking up here, this stuff looks like it's like maybe Mandarin Chinese or something. It's like, what's an antioxidant? Omegas, that was a spaceship, one of the movies I just watched. Like, what is that? Hey folks, this is a requirement for your health. You have to have these things, okay? You don't have to know all this stuff. Just know that it's in here. And it's food. Your body can recognize it, absorb it, utilize it, okay? But this is important stuff. About 80% of all disease in the body is a direct result of inflammation. So packing in anti-inflammatories, big deal for your health. All the omegas, 3, 6, and 9, they're balanced, ratioed properly. In the standard American diet, I've seen ratios from anywhere from 12 to 1 all the way as high as 20 to 1, omega-6s to omega-3s. You might say, what's the big deal? Well, omega-6s are inflammatory. Not good. Standard American diet. Somebody said jokingly one time, they said, it's we eat the standard American diet, we go visit the standard American doctor, he prescribes the standard American drugs, we die the standard American death. It's funny, but then it's not. 20 amino acids, including the 9 essential. I put my children on this. My wife and I were using it. I didn't know exactly what it was yet. I had studied and learned. I don't want my kids, I don't want to experiment on my children. My goodness. They were 9, 11 years old. But after I figured out what it was, they were on it. And they've been on it for over 7 years now. Wouldn't do without it. But here's the deal. Just this part right here alone, it provides the 9 essential amino acids. They don't call them, the 9 amino acids, hope you get them. They call them essential because your body needs them to function properly. Okay? And so every day when we drink our nutrition, we have them ratioed properly and absorbed into our bodies. These are building blocks of proteins, which start a chain reaction of hundreds of things in our body that we're not going to notice, but lead to optimal health. So people say, what's it done for you? I don't know what it's done for me, specifically. Except, I know I'm giving myself nutrition. I can't point to something and go, here this or solve that. I feel good. I want to continue to feel good. I know I need nutrition. It's that simple. This is a learning experience. Okay? This is not something, there's no way this could be shared retail. No way. You couldn't run a 1-minute commercial on this and put it on the shelves at Walgreens or Costco and people buy it. They wouldn't understand it. The value that's in my hand, folks, I hope you're getting it from the tone of my voice, is a serious, serious value for people. People need to know about it. And the only way they're going to know about it is if you share it with people. I've got people in my church that have been on this for years, won't open their mouth and tell anybody about it. They've had life-changing results. Won't tell anybody about it. To me, that doesn't make any sense. But also understand that a lot of us are apprehensive about sharing anything with people. These people are also Christians. They're apprehensive about sharing Christ with people. They know if Christ has had value for them, they won't share it. They won't tell anybody about that either. They just come to church, they sit there, they're happy as long as, don't bother me, I won't bother you, that kind of thing. Some people live their life that way, that's okay, but I just want you to know that when you have something of value, you need to tell people about it. Whatever it is. This is the greatest country that's ever existed on the planet. And we're improving things all the time. Technology, whatever. Everything's getting better. We got an iPhone 5. What, 3 or 4 months later, my daughter's like, well, they got iPhone 6 now. Like, it's like just, the cars we drive, all these things are getting better. We have all these chronic issues, though, things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's. These things are all getting worse. Think about that. Things are getting better, but yet those issues are getting worse. When I was born in the early 60s, 1964, if you polled 100 people, you'd be hard-pressed to find a diabetic. Now they're everywhere. So what's the problem? The problem is real simple. We don't take care of ourselves. We just don't do it. And so people, what they do is they fall into couple categories. This is, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here. Okay? You got one group of people that are looking for what I call the quick fix. They're trying anything. The quick fix. Is there a pill I can use? I've had people asking that before. You got this in a pill? I don't like the way this stuff tastes. I'd rather this doesn't make me. No, sorry. Quick fixes. I remember when some of my mom's friends who were kids, they had these devices that Suzanne Summers advertised called a thigh matcher. People buy anything. It's like, are you kidding me? I knew as a kid that was crazy. People they're looking for answers, and they're looking for all these things. And listen, there's plenty of people out there that'll create things to lure you in and get you to believe that something special is going to happen. And out your money goes, and no results happen, and you're like right back. And guess what? A lot of you will play the same game again. This is about the basics. You got to do the basics. This stuff's been around for years. Just people aren't taught it. Don't remember it. I remember one of my friends, his mom weighed about 350, and I remember her saying before she was big bone. Her kids would say it. She was big bone. I believed it. I didn't know. It's like, to me, I felt sorry for her. She was big, and I thought, well, maybe she was born with big bones. It's like, okay, that's the way it is. Until later on, I studied anatomy, and I figured out there's no such thing as a fat skeleton. But I believed it for a while. For her, sadly enough, it was just an excuse. She was fat because she made poor choices. It's not rocket science. Chris said it. What Chris shared up here this morning is so simple when he talked about habits. That's all our lives are. I can follow any of you around for a week or two, and I can predict pretty accurately your future. I can. You can predict mine. I'll follow you around, and I'll watch what you do or what you don't do. And I'll tell you where you're going in a lot of areas of your life. And I'm not a prophet or a soothsayer. I just have to look at your habits. It's not tough. And that's in personal life, finances, spiritual, all these things. It's all about habits. So you're either looking for a quick fix, or you're like me and I was just misguided. I just didn't know. I thought I was pretty smart. Let me give you an example of misguided people. Okay, you may be in this category. When people think about their health, one of the things is, I got to get in the gym. Got to get in the gym. I just walk around the neighborhood and get moving. That's step one. That's great. That'll help you. Okay. I got people I know that they get fired. I'm in CrossFit. I'm in P90X, and I wasn't doing much. Now I'm running half marathons and marathons, and I'm doing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, that's great. How much water you got every day? What's your sleeping habits? What's your nutrition? Oh, I'm eating good. I'm doing okay. It's like, well, have you really looked at those things? Do you really know what you're doing? They're misguided. And they're going to see some results. If you're not doing any kind of exercise, you start an exercise regimen, you're going to notice some differences. It's great. It's positive. Same thing with water. If you're not giving yourself enough water, you start giving yourself some water, you'll notice some differences. You're not sleeping correctly, you start sleeping correctly, you'll notice some differences. You're not eating right, you start eating right, you'll notice some differences. How about do them all? Don't fool yourself into thinking, I got it down because I'm a big exercise freak. Because I'm here to tell you, you don't have it down. Unless you're doing all 4 of those things, and none of them really weigh more than the others. It's like I can't eat such a good diet that I don't have to exercise, or I can't eat such a good diet I don't have to hydrate. You got to do them all. Very important. So again, I was in the misguided crowd. I needed somebody to come along and help me see. And it took more than one person. And it took a little bit for me to get my mind around what was going on with this, but also what was going on with my overall health and how pitiful of a job I was really and truly doing. And I'm glad they did. The company has several products that they've created over the years, and I'm not going to go over all these products individually. I'm just going to mention some general categories, and a couple other people are going to help me with this. But I want you to know what's in my hand is raw organic food. And this is why the company was started. The documentary was started, or came out, the idea developed for the company from the documentary. And for the first 3.5 years, all they had was one product, which was food, raw food. They began developing some other products to help in different areas of your health. They have thermogenic capsules that are really for athletes. Some people use them because they burn adipose tissue, burn fat, not muscle. Okay. We have a couple of teas. One is a daily tea that can be sipped on before meals to suppress your appetite. One that's probably more popular because of the benefits or the premium or the detox tea. Okay. We have a whey, very pristine whey, designed specifically for high-level athletes. Delivers 20 grams of absorbable protein post-workout. Some people use it as a meal replacement. This is not a meal replacement in my hand here. This is nutrition. This is like just like going. It's like me pulling broccoli out of the ground right here and just eating it raw. You know, it's giving me some things I need. It's not designed. They didn't put a bunch of stuff in here to try to make you feel full all day, but it will satiate you. In other words, you'll give your body what it needs, and you probably won't crave things as much. I noticed that 3 or 4 months in, because I'm a foodie. I like to eat, and there's certain things when I go to a restaurant I get. I wasn't putting it down like I used to. Not that I didn't want to. It was weird. I crave this stuff. I have to have it. Why are the 3 packets in my hand? Smart Mix has been around for several years. It has a prebiotic, plant-based prebiotic, feeds the good bacteria, the flora in your gut. Plenty of moringa for an average-sized adult in this. About 4 years ago, the company, and all these cost exactly the same, but they created a couple of different versions or enhanced it. They put more moringa in this. This is what I use every day. Super Mix, more moringa for the money. My kids do a half a packet of this every day. I'm spending $1.50 a day on my children for their nutrition. $1.50. Besides dragging them to church, that's the best thing I've done for my children. Is give them this. This version is probably the most popular, XM Plus. It has basically, it's a little shot, but basically the same amount of moringa as Super Mix. But they added some other ingredients to give you hours of lasting energy. They added ginseng, garlic, desert green tea, some natural plant-based caffeine. Everything we have in this company is all natural, gluten-free. Some of the products we have are also kosher and halal certified, which means our Jewish and Muslim friends can consume them. There's nobody that will be left out. In other words, somebody says, well, I'm a Muslim, I can't do this, or it has to be halal. We got something for you right here. In other words, there's different options for people because of different reasons. Okay? So just know that this is the moringa, the food, and why the company was created. Some of the products that we have that are not shown up here, we'll get to here in just a moment. There's a couple other areas. One thing before I bring up Scott Taylor here for a moment is if you remember anything I've said, remember this, that in your life, throughout your life, you're going to deal with a pain. There's going to be a pain you have to deal with. Okay? and you're going to deal with the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. That's just the way it is. You're going to deal with the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. I saw a statistic the other day of the percentages of obese children under the age of 10 in America. I don't remember the statistics, it doesn't matter. There was a lot of them. And you might think how sad it is you're not even a 10-year-old and you're already living a life of regret at 10 or 9. Why? Because your parents don't know what they're supposed to do, and they're passing that right on to you, and you've had 4, 5, 6, 7 years of bad choices, and now you're already living a life of regret, and you're not even in your teenage years yet. Don't think this is something off in the distance. This is something that happens. It can happen in weeks and months. You're developing habits, and you're either going to do it or you're not. So I would tell you, I would encourage you to deal with the pain of discipline, not regret. Scott Taylor's going to come up. He is a retired umpire, very successful umpire. He's a businessman, entrepreneur from Indianapolis, Indiana. And Scott's going to share some things related to the weight management system. So this is Scott Taylor. Give him a hand.
Let me ask y'all a question. How many of you got into this because you wanted to lose a few pounds? How many of you guys who got into this to lose a few pounds know somebody else that needs to lose a few pounds? 4,000 calories a day, 6 days a week at McDonald's, 2 liters of Coca-Cola a day. How many of y'all feel me? How many of y'all understand what I was? Okay? Brandon Cooper and these products, I will tell you, saved my life. I was 280 pounds January 2nd of 2014, 23 months ago when I started on the Zija Weight Management System. I'm under 200 for the first time since I was 15. I am 197. My wife Brenda lost 65. My wife Brenda lost 65. Dan Jeffrey, stand up. Dan Jeffrey drove down here from Michigan today because he wanted to be a part of this. How many of y'all went to Salt Lake City? Yeah. He was on stage. 160 pounds in 13 months. Wow. He's got even the best story in his own family. His dad is 67, lost 130 in the same time frame. Over 6,300 pounds of weight loss. Over 3 tons in 23 months in my group. Does the Zija Weight Management System work? Absolutely, it works. How many of you get to wake up now every day? Who am I going to help today? Because that is what my life has become. I get to wake up every day and say, who am I going to help today? I got 6,300 pounds of help. And that didn't even count the people that just had joint pain and wanted to feel better. Weight management system works. If you are here as a guest and you're wanting to lose weight, do this. If you are already a distributor in this company and you don't go out and share this with somebody who needs our help, shame on you. Shame on you. Because we have the best products in the world. Share it and get on these products. Thank you.
Guys, when we talk about weight management, obviously nutrition is important. We're not talking about some kind of diet system where you're extracting things. This is about giving your body what it needs. This is unlike anything out there. And again, you got to learn a little bit about it. I would just encourage you to make sure you get your questions answered. The tree itself is good for the skin, so there is a skincare line. You can eat basically everything shown up here. It's been tried on all skin types. It's hypoallergenic. The company's created some excellent products. This tree itself is an amazing giving tree, and there'll be more products that come. The company has 2 other divisions that they have started, and one of those is essential oils. And when they decided to get into essential oil space about 2 years ago, they wanted to make sure that they did it at the highest level. Everything we have is at the top of the food chain, period. And so with essential oils, we decided to set a whole new standard in that industry. And I've got a young lady that's going to share a few things related to essential oils. She knows a whole lot more about them than I do, even though I use some of them. Carrie? This is Carrie Davis, right? Yeah. Carrie's going to share like a mixologist, right?
We do mixologies,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. She knows a lot more about essential oils. I'm going to share like kind of what she sees with this, the importance of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I started using essential oils about 3 years ago. I have a son who was 12 years old then, who has Tourette syndrome. Connor had never been medicated just because we don't like medicines. We were scared of the side effects. But 3 years ago, when his tics were at their worst, we had to do something. He didn't know I was filming this, but this is what life was like for Connor. You get the idea. As long as he was awake, every 3 to 5 seconds, this is what Connor dealt with. We finally talked to his neurologist and said we have to have some help. They gave him a prescription. And because Connor has always had tremendous anxiety when it comes to medicine, he started to have panic attacks twice a day before we had to take the medicine. So we have a friend who had kind of traveled this journey with us with Connor who said, don't think I'm a tree-hugging, granola-eating, Birkenstock-wearing hippie, but if I give you some essential oils, would you use them? And I said, does he have to swallow them? She said, no, you put him on his feet and he's good to go. And I said, we will try anything. So the short of the long is that within 2 weeks, 14 days of starting this blend of essential oils, Connor was off of every single one of his medicines. Those Tyrannosaurus Rex type ticks were gone, and that was 3 years ago. When essential oils make a difference in the life of your babies, and when you can see so dramatically how they're helping your kids, you become a believer. And that's what happened for us. It's probably been about 6 months ago, my friend Sharon Hatfield said, hey, I know you're already into essential oils. How about trying my Ameo oils? And I said, nope, I'm good, thank you. And then a couple months later, my friend Christina Green said, hey, let me talk to you about Ameo oils. And I was like, nope, I'm good, thank you. Finally, a couple of months ago, she said, hey, do you want to go on a girls' night with me to Lexington to hear Dr. Plant and talk about essential oils? And I thought, a girls' night and essential oils, I can't say no to this. And so I went, and when I did, I was given a bottle of 5 milliliter Ameo peppermint. And I thought, this is perfect. I've got my other peppermint in my purse that I've used for 3 years. I'll just compare for myself. So I opened my peppermint, and I smelled it and thought, yes, this is the same peppermint that I've been using for 3 years. Perfect. And I smelled the Ameo peppermint, and the difference in the potency was absolutely remarkable. I was kind of astounded. And I thought, okay, I just made all this up in my head. Let me just do my own little Christina smell. Like, which one smells more powerful? And she pointed to the one, and it happened to be Ameo. And I was like, Monica, you got to smell which one. Which one is more powerful? And she said, the one that happened to be the Ameo. So then I thought, okay, they're seeing which one everybody else is smelling. So I did the, 5-year-old thing where you hide everything behind your back. I did that and mixed them up a few times, and I said to Miriam, okay, which one smells the strongest? And again, it was the Ameo. I went home and made my husband BJ do the same thing. All of our children, my parents did this, and time after time after time, everybody chose the Ameo oil that was stronger, right? So maybe our sense of smell was just all weird or something. So I went to, as most of you all know, on the bottom of every bottle of oil, there's a batch number, right? So I went to the Ameo Difference website, I put in that batch number, and up came all the tests that were run on that specific oil. The difference in Ameo oils and the oils that I had been using is that they told me that their oils were 100% pure. They didn't have any way of proving that. With the Ameo, You can go to the Mayo Difference website, put in that batch number, see every single oil, every single test that was run on that oil, the results of those tests, and you can see a video about how that specific oil interacts before, during, and after with live cells. No other brand that I've ever had experience with will produce those results. In addition, I learned that clearly, to my olfactory senses anyway, the Mayo was a stronger, purer oil. I saw all the test results. That showed me that Mayo was a stronger, purer oil. When I found out that the price difference in what I had been using and the Mayo oils was essentially none, what reason could I possibly have not to go ahead and make the switch? And so I did, and I have just been so blessed. But don't take my word for it. You know, I've got a great story, I think. But take the word of my friend Sarah Simonik, who had a friend who had never used oils before, but whose son had had a cough for 3 weeks that wouldn't go away. Sarah said, I can hook you up. And she gave her some soothing air and said, even use my diffuser overnight in your son's room. Just diffuse some of this in your son's room. And the next day she called her and said, Sarah, my son has not had a night of uninterrupted sleep without coughing in 3 weeks, and he did last night. I need this kit. Take the word of my friend Ashley, who is an oncology nurse, who said, I've got a sinus infection, what can I do? I gave her a blend, she used it, she was a believer instantly, but her husband, no offense men, but maybe like a lot of husbands, was a little skeptical. And he said to her, when he got home from work, I've got a headache, and she said, do you want some peppermint? He was like, no, I don't want your peppermint. And then he came back a few minutes later and was like, okay, I'm desperate, I'll try your peppermint. It's not gonna work, but I'll try your peppermint. And he came back to her very sheepishly about 30 minutes later and said, okay, I'm sad to say, but your peppermint worked. Don't just take those examples. Take the example of my friend Sonia, who I just talked with last night, who has a 16-year-old son with autism, who I let her borrow my Basic 9 kit for several days. And she didn't know that her son even realized that she had been using these oils for a couple of days, but she did notice that her son's acne over the last few days had tremendously improved. And she even said to him, like, your skin looks so much better. And he said, well, yeah, I read all that information about those oil things that you have, and I've mixed up a bunch of stuff on a cotton ball, and I've been using it twice a day. She said, what did you use? He said, I don't even know. I just mixed a bunch of stuff together, and here we are. Not only did he have a clearer face, but she could see, as a mother does, the confidence level in her son that tremendously, 2 days, y'all, 2 days, and because of the improvement in his skin, the increase in his confidence, she told me last night, I've got to have this stuff, get it for me as soon as you can. And so I'm telling you, not just from my experience, but from the experience of every woman I have shared these oils with, they are the real deal. They are pure. You'll not find a purer kind of oil, and they can change your life.
Carrie's someone that has oil experience, and so someone comes to her and says, here's something that's better. And she was like, no. See, she didn't know what she didn't know. What would have been very bad on her part would be to be so stubborn that she didn't take a look and at least compare and learn. I had the same experience. My friend says, I've got something, if you'll review it, you want your family on it. No, I'm doing just fine, bro. I don't need anything from you. I've been there, done that. I've lived long. I'm involved in life. I read. I know what's, if there's anything of real value, I've heard about it on CNN maybe. Many of us don't know what we don't know. Appreciate you sharing that. What makes Mayo oils? First of all, oils have therapeutic and medicinal purposes. They've been used for a long, long time in many different cultures around the world. France is probably known as one of the countries that really promotes essential oils and uses them. But what Zija did was they set a new standard in the industry, literally. We have this a Mayo certified difference, and as she mentioned, we prove that the oils permeate cells. Nobody else does that. Okay? So this is a very, very good product line, and it's at the top of the food chain. It's not towards the top, it is the top. So I would just tell you that one of the goals from an overall health standpoint is to try to keep toxins out of your body, in your environment. These are natural things that can do a lot of different things for you without bringing toxins into your world, which is important for your overall health. Okay? Very important stuff. I appreciate you sharing that. The other line or division the company has is called sports fitness supplements. We're specifically called RIP sticks. There's 4 of them. And what I would tell you, the ingredients that are used, the natural ingredients that are in these RIP sticks are found in a lot of other products out here in the world. The difference is Zija did not mask them because many of them are very bitter, especially in the pre-workout, the Ignite. They didn't mask them with artificial sweeteners and flavorants and colorants. So if you have people that want to be pure, they need to know about this. These aren't for everybody. Everybody's not a serious workout person, or may not feel like they need all these. I'm not telling you that you need these. I just want you to be aware of them. Okay? But you have a pre-workout, Ignite. Fuel is really designed for endurance athletes, ultra runners, Ironman, triathlon runners, people that are going in long distance type activities. It would be like a goo that people might use for caloric and electrolyte intake during a long competition. That's what fuel is. It's very specific. Recovery, excellent product. Provides branched chain amino acids for lean muscle growth. It's got chlorophyll in it, just like the tree does. It helps clean out lactic acid buildup in your muscles after anaerobic exercise. It has glucosamine for joints. It's good stuff. Hydrate is the one that's probably the most synonymous for everybody, and it's like Gatorade without any of the harmful ingredients in it. Nothing artificial. So again, a little artificial here and there is not going to kill you. It's not the end of the world. But if you're doing that collectively over and over and over and over and over and over, well, you see I don't have to explain the problems. The problems are right in front of us. They're everywhere. I have the pleasure of bringing up a buddy, business partner. We've shared some laughs, and sometimes we like to get in hotel rooms, wrestle around a little bit, put the pillows on the floor. Now that there's oils, guys, Will Weaver has been someone who has been someone that I have learned some things from. One of the things I've learned is drive, being tenacious. Will's a guy that he doesn't know what no means. He doesn't know what barriers are. He just decides he's going to make things happen. He makes it happen. And what's impressive about his story, unlike mine is very sorry. And as far as the business goes, got off to a terrible start, wouldn't listen to anybody. When he decided to do this, he was all in. He just decided, I'm going to make it happen. And within a few months, a little over a year, he walked away from a full-time teaching and coaching position. And I think within a couple of years, he had a real serious income in this company, which again is a testament to his tenacity. And so I'm happy to call him a teammate, and we work together in a lot of areas. And so it's my pleasure to welcome Triple Diamond Executive, Mr. Will Weaver.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. We're going to be real quick on this section right here because we got lots of training to do. Just to let you know, if you are a guest, you do not have to know all this information to build a business. You kind of learn as you go. We have tools to where basically you can come in, thank people for coming, let someone else do the opportunity presentation, talk about the products, and put someone on the phone to close down your meeting for you. So don't feel overwhelmed. I know if this had been my first meeting coming to, and I saw all these leaders up here doing this. I think, can I do that? But without a doubt, you can definitely build a business by keeping it simple. A little bit about the opportunity, guys. This is a picture of the headquarters, the corporate office. Unbelievable. If you've had a chance to tour it, will take your breath. Everything is in place for this to be a legacy company, from the distribution center, the place that we manufacture the products. There's an international division. I mean, it'll just take your breath. Signs that this is a legacy company. We were completely debt-free from day one. We've never borrowed any money, so we own everything. From the farm to where we actually grow our product to our manufacturing facility. We have an A+ ranking with the Better Business Bureau after 9 years. We're in year number 10 now. The good thing about it being a $200 million company is we're just now picking up steam. So another 10 years, I mean, there's no telling where we're going to be as a company. So I'm excited, but I'm more excited about what the future holds. 906% growth over the last 3 years. We are a growing company. We're an international opportunity in over 60 different countries now. 60 different countries. Now, when I first heard that, when I come in, I said, man, I'm in small Western Kentucky. I don't know anybody in any other countries. But through networking, by meeting people through people, now I've got people in 4 or 5 different countries that I would never have known or thought through networking that I would ever have come in contact with. So I've already been to Australia. I've got to go to Belgium sometime. So we've got some different groups. It's kind of cool when you learn what networking is. You're only a few degrees of separation from anybody in the world, okay, when you learn how to do networking. So now this is a big one. We got the Fast 50 Award for the state of Utah, which awards the fastest growing companies in the state of Utah. Any company, we got the Fast 50 Award as the fastest growing company in the state of Utah over the last 12 months. So that's big. So that tells you, although we're 9 years old, we're in year number 10 now, okay, over the last 12 to 16 months, we got this award. So everything is in place, like Dee talked about. When we started out, everything was based on the core nutritionals. Now, when I paint vision for people, we have a 3-lane highway that is nicely paved. The lines are new. The signs are up. Everything is in place for this to be a legacy company. And the only thing stopping us is the action that we take. What I'm going to do now is bring up John Morris. He's going to talk a little bit about the business opportunity real quick before we get into our training. But John's my sponsor and does a tremendous job with his leadership in this company.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. And to summarize what we're here today, most of us are here to look at the health and nutrition part, I know, but even more of us are probably here to learn how on a Saturday morning what you can do to enhance your life financially. So when I got started 5 years ago, my goal was initially to make a few $100 extra a month in the hopes of making a lot more. And I also asked myself, what could I do to make extra money with the time I had other than something like network marketing to make even a few $100 a month, because I was working full time, wife and 3 kids, coaching or refereeing high school basketball and coaching baseball. So really I had 0 time. So for me, this was the perfect business. I couldn't go out and start another business. As you see here, low cost of entry. Most people, if they had to turn around and write a $1,000 check, would struggle. More people, if you had to write a $5,000 check, you would struggle. I don't know a business that you can open today unless you probably have to write a check for $50,000 to $100,000. So most people, when you own your own business, it owns you. You're the first one there, last one to leave. So to me, this is perfect. And I kind of had that vision when I introduced this to people is, why don't more people get involved in something like this? It's just they don't understand it. And our goal is to kind of drip on them over time. And what happens is they're going to watch how you're going to do. And once you start doing well, eventually they will join you. So I encourage you, 1 year from today, make sure you're here. If you're not here, whoever you talk to, somebody else is going to sign them up. Okay? And what's going to happen is you're going to have that regret, as Dee mentioned earlier. Low cost of entry, tremendous tax breaks. If you don't own your own home-based business, you're getting a lot of money back to the government each and every year. Personal development. This is a part that helps anybody and everybody. I love hanging around positive, goal-oriented people. When I go into school and somebody says, oh, it's Monday, can't wait to Friday, I look at them, and I've always done this even before Zija. I was like, if you don't want to be here, leave. And they kind of get irritated. Well, you know, I need to be here for my family. I said, no, you don't. You all have choices. If you want to do something different, make a better choice. So to me, when people worry about Mondays and Fridays, you're kind of living for the wrong reasons. So what we do is we personally develop ourselves, and we get better over time to understand there's more out there than just your current job and your current situation. Leveraging residual income. This is another powerful thing. What you're doing is you're leveraging time, energy, and resources. Now, Dee has made a tremendous amount of money in this business. He hasn't signed up thousands of people. He's signed up a couple, It's led to thousands. I haven't signed up thousands of people. I really have about 3 personally sponsored, quote-unquote, studs that I have. Those 3 have led to thousands. You don't have to know that many people. You just have to talk to a few, who talk to a few, who talk to a few more, and keep duplicating that daily. You have unlimited income potential. For those of you who are earning income, one of the neatest things is on Mondays and Tuesdays when you log in and you see auto ship volume and you see how you've made money overnight, you really didn't do anything. You know, what you're doing here is you're having that different way of thinking. Most people, you trade time for money. In this, what you're doing is you're getting a business going, and over time, what happens is, just like you're an insurance person, when you sign up somebody on a policy, you're getting that residual because they're renewing. There's a lot of companies out there. To me, this made perfect sense because it was a consumable product. People who buy gift bags and perfumes and all types of skincare products, most of those products last a long time. The problem with that is it doesn't generate a residual. We have the right company, we have the right product base, and we have a consumable product that people need to be on over and over and over, and what happens is that generates your auto ship money and generates that residual income. I have a lot of people in my organization that started out that really wanted to do this business. They decided not to. Life kind of got in the way. But you know what? They're still using the product. There's people that quit this business 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. Each and every month I see their name and volume, which generates income. So you have to understand, as you introduce this to people, they make the decision on how they want to join. This is a volunteer army. You're here today because you want to be. There's a lot of other things you could be doing on a Saturday morning. You want to be here. And the neat thing is you're just sorting through a few to find a few. And as you do that, you're going to maybe leave some people behind. Those people are going to stay on the product. That's what separates our companies from others. Most people in other companies, when they get out of that company, they get off the products. Ours is different. People stay on the products. 3 ways to get involved. And what we tell people is get in where you fit in. We like packages for the fact you get more product for your money. We emphasize if you're serious about the business, you look at a 660 or 1320 package. In addition to getting more product for your money, what you're doing is you're enabling yourself to make more money later. When you hit certain ranks, you can double your income. So I encourage you to get with the person who invited you here, let them explain that to you, and they can find out how serious you are. If you just want to be a product user, sample our products, come in for the 330 system. You can still build a business. However, if you're serious about the business, look at the 660 and 1320 options, because what you're doing is you're maximizing your money and your income that you make. We have all types of perks in addition to income, including our team bins. How many team bins people we have here? We have a few people, so this thing really does work. Folks, what they're doing is they're making your car payment on a Mercedes each and every month just for you advertising for this company. It's like a pretty good deal. So, you know, this is a quote-unquote company car. To get started, choose a kit. Get your training. Understand that you're just buying product. There's not an entry fee. This is a product you and your family should be on anyway, as Dee stated. All you're doing is deciding how big of a business that you want to build. I ask people all the time, what's your number 1 or number 2 obstacle getting started? People say, I don't have enough time, don't have enough money. Here's what I can tell you. Those won't change unless you change. You're never going to have enough time because you only have 24 hours in a day. It's what you do with your time. I didn't have enough time either. But when I saw something good, I figured I had to reallocate my time. So what I did is I started, and I hate to say this to you, I started getting up earlier, going to bed later. I had to sacrifice a little bit, and I hope to catch up on my sleep here next year. Okay? it would have affected his income if I got my 8 hours of sleep a night. But what I did is I cut some things out that really, when I looked at things that did that life audit that Chris was talking about, that really didn't mean a lot in the first place. Kind of hanging out, watching a 30-minute newscast when you can look on your phone and see in 30 seconds what you need to see. Then you don't have to feed your mind with all that negativity, so I got rid of that. Also got rid of watching Sports Center and then maybe a highlight or two of it. Didn't really do much for me, and they didn't pay me. A lot of people ask me why I wear a lot of Zija stuff all the time. They pay me. Nike does it, Under Armour does it. Okay? And so for Zija, you know, if you're not advertising for the company with your mouth, you can be advertising with your clothing, with your car, or what you do. That's why we try to emphasize promotion. If you believe in something, promote it. But why not get paid for it? So that's all we're doing. We're advertising the greatest nutritional product out there. Zija's paying you to do it. You're building a team over time to do it. Understand that we're just getting started. We're in year number 9. The Big A has been out 40-some years and made more millionaires than any other network marketing company in history. Kentucky is the #1 state in the nation with number of Zija representatives. I can talk to 100 people in Louisville, 99 out of 100 have never heard of it. The 1 or 2 that think they have, they don't know much about it. And then the people who have heard of it, if you ask them, have you looked at it? They'd say no. So I encourage you to understand about timing. And don't look back with regret and just say, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Okay, I encourage you to take this for what it is. Do your research, do your due diligence, get on the product, and if this is something that you want to do more, I encourage you to put your steps in place in order to do that. I want to thank Dee for a tremendous presentation, one of the best I've seen him do. We've got tremendous training coming up. Will's going to start us here, and we're going to just go ahead, since we're running a little over, we're just going to take a short 5-minute break, and then Will's going to train, followed by Dee, and I'll finish up. We'll be out by noon. Thank you, guys.